Joining me in the studio now is Arise Analyst Dr. Constance Ikokwu to help us understand all the issues raised. Thank you so much, Dr. Ikokwu, for joining us. Now let's start from the security of the nation's capital. We've seen the north central region where the capital city is located and neighboring states having security challenges. And it's almost like coasting home. Residents of the satellite towns are complaining that bandits seem to be invading, and it looks like the police is taking it to be issues of simple kidnapping. And then, of course, within the capital city, there are issues of, one chance. And then, of course, even still kidnapping here and there. And the fear is that, the president should not suffer this one day. This is costing home. What do you have to say about all of that?
There has been a rising insecurity in the capital city, and it's obvious. Everybody's aware of that, and it's good that you had the first guest. He raised some good points where he said that there are issues such as inadequate personnel, in the police. He talked about lack of logistics, vehicles, and all of that, and then lack of technology. He painted a picture that actually the Federal Capital Territory is easy to govern and to police if you provide the logistics and the infrastructure that the police needs. But that has not happened. So when you then look at it critically, you can see that the level of insecurity that we are facing is really acute. Not only the FCT, it's all over the country. It's been happening for some years now. And one could say that the government has spectacularly failed in securing the nation. The government would have us believe that they are doing everything possible, everything within their power. Yeah,
once it doesn't touch a government official, nothing is happening. Everything is okay until it happens to one of them. Yeah. But he raised the issue of the Minister of FCT, and of course they need to have the neighboring states, the contiguous states to the Federal Capital Territory to actually admit. Do you think the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, is doing so much, or he's been carried away by his politics?
Well, it looks like the minister right now seems to be a little bit distracted, if not distracted a lot, with political crisis in Rivers State, where he comes from, which he partly created. And I think a lot of the residents, even the senator that is representing the Federal Capital Territory, has mentioned that or alluded to that the minister has to focus in his sphere of influence or his portfolio and where he has been given the job to do. This is a big capital territory with a lot of extensions and areas surrounding it. And like you mentioned also, there are states that are neighboring to us. So it's not that difficult, your first guest said. You just have to focus, have a plan and then execute and implement the plan.
Okay, and we'll now move on to the second story where I had my other guest talking about the politics in Rivers State. Nyesom Wike likely to move into the APC and Rotimi Amechi likely to move out. And then, of course, the governor says that his red pen is still with him. And Nyesom Wike saying that, well, it's just a matter of time before we know who controls the political structure of Rivers State. What do you make of all the intrigues and then the reconciliation with Victor Giadom, who's the APC National Vice Chairman South-South, and who is also an ally of former Governor Rotimi Amechi?
I was watching that video where he was alluding to the fact that he is the boss, essentially saying that, when the time comes, we will see who is in charge of Rivers State. And when you look at it and examine it critically, you can see that there's profoundly an egotistic and narcissistic bent to that video. And I think that partly it's the way that the minister assesses himself. He has been governor, he has been local government chairman in that state, he was chief of staff to former Governor Rotimi Amechi. He had, some kind of alliances with also the former governor, Dr. Peter Odeli, who I think all of them worked under him. He has been Minister of State, and now he is the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. That's a super minister. And then, above all, he is close to the president, who himself is a very good politician. So against that backdrop, you can understand why he has a sense of, lord or lordship over that particular state. But I think that the battle hasn't even begun. because the judgment, the final judgment on Rivers Election Tribunal hasn't been given, right?
Yeah, by the Supreme Court.
So I think everyone is waiting for that judgment. When that happens, I think it might give Governor Fubara some kind of assurance and confidence, to sit up and handle his seat in a better way or more strongly. And then for Minister Wike, I also think that whatever happens, even if APC does not win, the battle will continue with Governor Fubara. If APC wins, he is already playing different cards, and he has a lot of cards to play with. And what do I mean by that? He's in APC partly with the president. He's also in PDP. So what happens is that Tonyeko becomes the governor if the APC takes that state. The only thing he has to do is to negotiate his interests, being the wheeler dealer that he is. He's very good in this kind of thing. So it's a long way down the road, and anything can happen. Yeah, and events are still unfolding.
Dr. Constance Ikokwu, just before we round off this conversation, how do you foresee a situation whereby Wike moves into the APC and he also wants to capture the leadership position in the South-South to make himself the APC leader in the South-South, just like Rotimi Amechi was? How do you foresee it, Wike moving into the APC?
If he does move to the APC, my sense is that there will be a lot of crisis. Yes, people have said that former Governor Rotimi Amechi will probably not want to stay in the same space with him. Then where does Amechi go to? There are also other leaders in that state who feel that they have their rights, they have paid their dues, they have fought for the party. So how does someone come from outside and lord it over them? So there will be a lot of roller coaster and a lot of problems. It may settle out, it may not. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, very interesting conversation here, Dr. Constance Ikokwu, Arise Analyst. We must thank you so much for helping us to provide this perspective of Nyesom Wike's reconciliation with Victor Gyadom, the APC National Vice Chairman for South-South. And of course, his efforts are being read as a means of moving into Nigeria's governing party, the All Progressives Congress. And of course, his chances of being the APC leader in the South-South of the country. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Do join us again tomorrow. From here, the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Somna Sambo.